welcome to Chaotic Riffs Magazine. We can be found on the web at www.chaoticriffs.com. My name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and we're speaking today with bassist Colin Burgeson from the band Psidium. How are you doing today, Colin?
Doing well. How you doing, Jason?
Now, I'd like to ask you about the name. That's kind of an interesting name. Any specific meaning behind that?
The name actually came from myself, Rob, and Eric, drummer, guitarist, bass player. We had our old band before we started Psidium was called Invasive.
Okay.
So after that band broke up, we all, the three of us, decided to stick together and keep playing. And we were coming up with a name for the new project. So I plugged Invasive into a Google Translate in Latin.
Oh, wow.
And Psidium is what came up.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so kind of interesting way of, it just, I don't know, kind of meant to be, I guess. It just kind of made sense, and we're not named after a tree.
Okay. Well, so we're talking to you guys because you have an album out called Blood in the Water, and the new single that we're going to be talking to you about today, Colin, is Fighting Time. Now, I've seen the video. It's a pretty cool looking video, and basically it's about, I guess, when your father talks to you about, hey, don't let anybody kind of pick on you or bully you, kind of fight back, stand up for yourself. And I think a lot of people can kind of relate to that. Could you? Is this based on like somebody's life experience, in the band? Can you relate to this, or talk a little bit about that?
Well, this was kind of the concept and the lyrics were written by Jason Hatch, our lead vocalist. Okay. And it was based on his actual experience. When if he would ever get messed with or anything like his dad would always have the conversation with him about if someone's gonna come at you or pick on you or bully you or start trying to fight you or hurt you, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to defend yourself, and basically it's about even if you come out on the bottom, even if you still lose, it's better than not doing anything at all.
I can so relate to this. Like I said, like a lot of people. I mean, one particular time in my life, like when I was in grade school, I remember this a particular kid that he'd always like pick on me. And the funny thing, looking back on it, was I wasn't much of a fighter, but and the funny thing is, this guy was a lot smaller and shorter, and I just got so, I'm like, first of all, why am I putting up this guy? If I really wanted to, I could wipe the floor with him. And it's not about that. Like I said, we don't want to encourage violence here, but and I never really did anything like that. But one time I got so fed up with this guy, I thought, you know what? That's exactly what I did. I kind of stood up for myself, and I let him know, hey, better think again. And I tell you, I didn't hurt the guy or anything, but he got the message, and from that point on, he never bothered me again. In fact, he said, why don't we just be friends? So I know it doesn't always work out that way, but again, I think this is something a lot of people can kind of relate to.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have experience with this kind of thing, and I feel like a lot of times, in bullying situations, a lot of the times it's people bully someone because they don't think they're going to respond or push back.
Yeah, or they're feeling inadequate. Sometimes like people that do the bullying, and like you said, this kid like was picking on me. In retrospect, I kind of laugh about it, thinking, he was a lot smaller than me. I don't know why I allowed it for so long, but finally got to the point where, like I said, I got kind of fed up with it, and we're not here to encourage violence, and luckily, in a lot of cases like that, it's just kind of kids picking on each other, and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's innocent, but it's not all that serious, it'll kind of play out usually. But there are other cases where, sadly, it gets to the point where, somebody is so picked on that, there are these cases you're always hearing about where somebody got so picked on, and it just, they were just bleeding on the inside that it got to them so much they take their own life or they hurt themselves somehow. It's just very sad, So I think having a song like this, it's a positive way to kind of paying attention to these type of situations. Maybe make people kind of think about what they're doing,
Yeah, and I really hope, and I hope that this song sends that message. Because, like you said, it's not a song about promoting violence.
Yeah,
it's not telling you to go go kick someone's ass or beat someone up. It's not at all. And like you said, it's about reminding people that it's okay to stand up for yourself. Yeah. And it's okay to do that if you're being picked on, if you're being attacked or anything like that. So yeah, and I hope it does, get through to, because like you said, that is an unfortunate thing where people are so picked on and so bullied that they end up taking their own lives, and that's really, really sad and really unfortunate, and it shouldn't happen. So I hope that is a message that this song gets across to people, that you don't have to get to that point. So I really hope it does send that message. And
when talking about bullying too, I mean, people so often, oftentimes it's so true what they say. Words can really kill. Sometimes more so than physical violence. I know somebody that was, picked on and kind of abused all their life, and things people said like 30, 40 years ago, it still affects them to this day. It's just amazing, how sometimes words can really, they're just sharp as a knife.
Right. Yeah. It's that really that mental, that mental aspect of it. It doesn't always have to be physical to have an impact. That mental and emotional distress can be just as bad, if not worse. Yeah,
it goes hand in hand, and my experience is oftentimes the people doing the bullying, it's more or less that they're feeling inadequate about themselves, and this is their way of kind of feeling like they're on the upper side,
Right, exactly.
And, as great as the song is and the video, talk a little bit about the video, because like I said, I urge people to go on YouTube and check it out, and it's a very professionally shot video. Are those like scenes you guys personally shot, or is it something you guys just pieced together?
No, that was just something that we that I just kind of pieced together. Just some stock video footage. Yeah. I tried to combine different types of subject matter as far as the concept. Like you said, it's based on what we talked about. But when we were going through the recording process of the song, it was mentioned by our producer that, man, this would be a great, also be a great sports anthem.
Oh yeah.
And you can hear it. I can hear it being played in stadiums, for football games, stuff like that.
I never thought about that, but you're right. There's so many of these. I'm hearing great metal songs all the time, hard rock songs that, they could be played like during sporting events, and probably the most common one that people are probably aware of that's been true for many, many years is Queen. Like, you're always hearing the either play "We Will Rock You" or "We Are the Champions," and that is something that those songs are kind of become associated with over the years. Yeah,
exactly. And those have been songs like that, and like "Welcome to the Jungle" too, for example.
Oh yeah.
Those are you don't. You can't hardly watch a game or
without hearing one of those songs. Yeah,
exactly. And that's kind of what we realized during the recording process, is that this song would be it'd be perfect for that. It gets people. So I hear all the time from people that we've talked to, like it's on their workout playlist.
Yeah. And that's cool, because you hear something like that and you think, wow, I just think about if you're one of the guys in your band and you're like, wow, somebody's working out to our music. I never thought about that. That's a pretty cool thought,
Yeah, that is very cool, and it's something that and that's so it's another great theme of the song is it gets you. You're motivated for your sporting event, for your boxing match, your fight, your wrestling match, or whatever it could be. It's adaptable for any sort of situation.
So you guys are based out of Seattle, is that right?
Spokane.
Oh, Spokane. Okay.
Spokane, Washington.
And what's the music scene like there these days? And I ask that because back in the early '90s, that was the hot spot of music. That was where all these grunge bands were coming from, and that's kind of what it became known for. And then before that, maybe. Seattle especially was known for like bands like Heart and Queensryche. So, you guys are right in the spot of it.
Yeah, no, Spokane's got it's got a good little music scene. It's got a good rock and metal scene. There's some really good bands, some really great artists around this area. It's kind of I wouldn't really say Spokane is a it's not. I wouldn't say it's a small town. It's not really a big city.
But it's an average sized town. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got. We've got some great venues. We got a knitting factory here in Spokane that that we've played and I've personally seen countless shows at.
Oh wow. Okay. And so have you guys played much outside of the area, like gone to other states, or have you stayed pretty local so far?
We've done fairly, for the most part, we stayed fairly local to at least the region.
Mm-hmm.
Where we've played. We're going out of town this weekend. We got a couple of shows. Friday we're playing down in Ogden, Utah.
Oh wow, that's cool. Now has COVID-19 and all these lockdowns, has that slowed you guys down any, or?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And
yeah, it was tough because we had just kind of started this band had really just started.
Is that what's kind of taking place?
Yeah, so it started in 2019. We just started, I think we played our first show together in September of 2019. Mm. We had started the recording process for the album, and then 2020 came out. We had several shows booked out throughout the summer and spring, and then those all just got kind of,
And so I imagine since all that, you've done your first live show again. What was that like to kind of do that first live show when you hadn't played in so many months?
It was, we had...
it hadn't been that long. Yeah,
it wasn't too much of a break for us. I mean, kind of in the Idaho area wasn't quite as...
active,
stingy with the rules.
Oh, cool.
So there were certain venues in here in North Idaho and even in Southern Idaho that we played at. They weren't quite. They opened up and they were doing stuff a little sooner. So it really wasn't that long of a break for us. We didn't go months and months at a time without playing. So we were able to keep busy, and we played a few shows here and there just to kind of keep ourselves from going crazy.
I bet. And I gotta say, it's great that you guys, because there are a lot of bands that have put off releasing new music or just kind of set on their albums. Well, we're not gonna release anything or go out there until this is all over. But more and more, it's looking like who the hell knows when that's going to be. I mean, even here in California, where I'm from, we got like a 2-week period where we got our freedom back. We're able to go around maskless, and then now they're making everybody mask up again if you vaccinated or not. And then you've got some artists out there that are like, well, if you want to come see us live, you gotta be vaccinated and have proof. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it should be left up to the venue, the artist, or how do you feel about that?
I'm not. I guess I'm kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I hear you.
Issue. I mean, I don't personally agree with it being mandated or forced.
I'm kind of with you. Yeah.
Yeah. In my opinion, it should be something that should be left up to the individual. Like, in the way I look at it, if you want to get, if you feel more safe getting vaccinated, then by all means go ahead and get it.
Yeah.
If you feel like it's in your best interest not to, then don't get it. I'm all for that.
I mean, I'm with you on that. I mean, the last thing I'm going to really say on the matter is this. See, that's the problem is with all this, the way they're messaging everything is the fact that I kind of agree that, okay, if you're going to, if you're going to require everybody to get vaccinated, okay, if you're vaccinated, you can prove it or whatever, that's fine. I don't know if it needs to be mandated like you said. I mean, I was in the bank the other day and some lady goes up to the security guard and had to tell him, well, I just want you to know I'm wearing a mask because I want to do the right thing. Okay, good for you if that's what you want. That's what you want to do. But here's the whole problem I think everybody's having, at least me personally, is, okay, I went and got vaccinated, but you're still telling me I have to wear a mask. You're still telling me when I, at least here in California, for example, where I live, telling me you're going to go on a, to a restaurant, even if you eat outdoors, you still got to wear a mask. So it's kind of mixed messaging, but I think it's great in any event that you guys can still get out there and do live shows. So, that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if I have to, and I'm of the mind, if I have to be able to go on tour and play shows, if I have to get the vaccine,
you do it. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'll do what I gotta do.
Yeah, and
against it, really.
Talk about the new album too. I understand you guys are you're releasing this independently. So, talk a little bit about that, because that could be a double-edged sword, but I often think it's cool for bands to release their own stuff because, if it's really, really successful, then, all the money goes back to the band as opposed to some record label that gets a bigger percentage than what you guys get,
Right, yeah, and that's the... like you said, it's definitely a double-edged sword. You kind of have to put forward the cost of
the money and everything, too, to make it, yeah.
Yeah, which, we had a... Luckily, for us, I had a really good friend of mine who has a professional recording studio who we recorded with. So we were able to, record and release the record at definitely a manageable price.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it was great that we were able to, we put it out independently, recorded it, mastered it, released it independently. We've got now we have Pavement Entertainment. They're doing a promo campaign for Fighting Time, so they're helping us get it out.
So any chance that you may ink a deal with them, or is that kind of a wait and see thing?
Right now, we're still kind of doing. So we're doing just a promo campaign with them for the single right now. I think we're gonna kind of take the next step as it comes about, as long as everything goes well, which I think it is. So far it's going well.
Because I think they're a great little label in the sense that first of all, you got the guy Tim King, who's kind of the guy behind the label. He's a bass player from Soil, and what I love about that is this is a label started by a guy, but he's an actual musician himself. He's lived the life as opposed to many big time labels where it's just a guy in a studio knows nothing about what it takes to make it in the music business. So and then you think a guy like that would start like maybe signing nothing but metal acts. I love the fact that this label's got everything from Candlebox, which is a big 90s alternative rock band, to rap acts and metal acts, everything.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And Tim's been great. He's been very helpful. Everyone we've been talking with over at Pavement, kind of helping us out with this promo deal has been great so far. Been a good relationship with them. So yeah, and I hope it does. It does continue because I've enjoyed working with them. We're getting our music out there to places.
Yeah, and just like with you today, Colin. I mean, they the publicist from Pavement, she always gives me such great bands to interview, and I tell you, they do a hell of a job promoting the bands on their label or the bands that they're helping to promote.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do a great job. They're really cool, and I'm glad we got the chance to work with them.
And so, like, in regards to the album, how many tracks are on the new album?
There are 7 songs on the new album.
So it's an EP now. Can people get physical copies, or is this release, or is this like a digital release only right now?
We do have physical copies. They're available at our. Well, if anyone ever sees a Psidium show, we'll have them available for sale at our table. Yeah. Or you can go to our. We have them for sale on our website as well. Okay,
and that's good to know because I ask because I'm an old school guy. I may be a little older than you, but I mean I was alive back in the days where they used to have things called record stores. To all you kiddies listening to it, I mean, you used to be able to go in a place and. These days I get everything pretty much through Amazon, but yeah, it's good to know that you guys are selling this independently, so if people aren't able to get out and go to one of your shows right away, they can still get a copy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and in addition to that, of course, we have it all it's all available digitally, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube.
Again, take your pick. You're giving people a choice. Earlier this morning before I talked to you, I had the pleasure of interviewing Doro about her upcoming release, and and she was telling me about her new release that's coming out in September. But they're releasing not just on CD but vinyl and cassettes. And a lot of labels are doing that more and more. I see.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that old school style of music stuff like vinyl and cassette it's coming back, and which I think is really cool. Like I'm a personal. I like because I have CDs and I have a CD player playing in my truck right now.
Yeah, I mean, so, I'm with you. I mean, I take my music with me everywhere I go. I mean, I grew up in that era, so I love having someone to look at the artwork, reading who played on the album, the special guests, who wrote all the songs,
Yeah, I like I always like the physical copy, holding it in your hand. It just seems
exactly, and I would think as a musician, a guy that is in the band that helped create this music, that when you get that CD in your hand, especially your own product. It's got to be like the ultimate feeling of accomplishment. Like, okay, I can actually hold, this CD we created in my hand.
Yeah, that was kind of at the point where it seemed the most real at the time when we had the actual physical product in our hands.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is done. I'm holding it. I'm looking at it. This is great.
So have you heard from some of the fans that kind of followed you guys over from the previous band that you guys were in together?
Yeah, actually, we ended up a lot of we kept a lot of that fan base.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of,
yeah, that makes it that much easier.
Yeah, it was a good way to get. It kind of a good way to get the at least get our foot in the door and not start totally from the.
And since you've launched this band, like what are you seeing internet wise? I mean, it's got to be a great little feeling, kind of. As this album gets out there, more people start to find out about it, the new single and that. It's got to be a great feeling that they're not just places in the United States that you guys have never played that are finally kind of discovering your band, but places all around the world that you've never stepped foot into. Kind of think, across the ocean, someone I understand is listening to our album. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. And so far everything that's come back to us about the album has been all positive things. And yeah, it's really cool that now that we're on the we're on active radio in several different places now. People from overseas and in different cities, not just around here, are listening to us and liking our stuff. So it's a good feeling. I
bet, and I won't keep it much longer, Colin, but there's a few things I want to kind of get to know you a little personally before we wrap this up. So I'd like to ask you, you're the bass player of the band, so I always love to ask people...
Guitar player, actually.
Oh, guitar player, excuse me, okay. But so in that case, what made you choose the guitar as your instrument of choice? I mean, I think it's obvious, so many guys want to learn to play the guitar, but what was it for you, or who was the guy that really did it for you guitar-wise?
Well, it's definitely my dad.
Oh, wow.
Off.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a musician for a living for 40 years.
Oh, wow. So you seen him live a life before you, huh?
Oh, yeah. He used to play, he was part of Foghat for a little while.
Oh, wow. Who's your dad? Because Foghat, one of my all-time favorite bands.
Eric Burgeson.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's his name. Yeah.
Yeah, I just interviewed the current singer, Charlie Hoon. What a cool guy, but I mean...
Great guy, yeah.
They've kept Foghat going for all these years, and you'd think it's amazing because Roger Earl's the only original member, but I mean, it's something about that catalog of music. I mean, if they get the right players in the band, which I think have right now, great catalog of music, and I think it's very much like Lynyrd Skynyrd in that it's more about not necessarily who's in the band, but kind of keeping that music alive, and people want to still come out and hear those tunes.
Right, yeah. It's kind of like, a lot of things with the bands, it almost becomes a brand after a while.
Yeah.
But there's always usually that one or two guys that have been there from the beginning that are carrying it forward. But
in fact, when I recently interviewed Charlie, he was telling me, he says, he goes, I have a huge amount of respect for what came before me. He says, I'm kind of helping to keep it going. He says, but especially with the original band, he says, I kind of stick, those original tunes, I kind of try to stick as close as I can to the way the original guys did it, because that's what people want to hear.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's that. You want to keep that loyal fan base that's been around since the beginning and stayed with them.
So did you? I imagine you've seen your dad perform with Foghat over the years. What was that like?
Well, he was. I did actually see him play with Foghat. He wasn't in the
live band.
He was in the band. Yeah. Well, his time in the band came before I was born.
Oh, wow. Okay, but I'm sure you've seen clips in that. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But I did get to see him when they were up here they're in Post Falls, Greyhound Park, doing a show, and we got to go see him. And he did perform their encore song "Slow Ride" with them.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I mean, that song itself is over 50 years old. It's just amazing that they keep going. And Foghat, another Foghat tune I loved was I Just Want to Make Love to You. I mean, that was such a big a disco hit for them almost, but it's not even an original Foghat tune. I found it. It's by Willie Dixon.
Oh, that's a great song. That's one of my favorites by them too, for sure.
So I imagining, getting back to you, Colin, your dad, did he play a role in teaching you how to play guitar? Did you take lessons from him, or did you take lessons from someone else?
Oh yeah. No, I took lessons from him when I first got started. For a couple years, I took my beginning lessons from him.
And so your dad's a rock guy too, but like what was he much of a fan of like like what do you think when you started playing metal music or hard? Yeah.
Oh, he was always supportive for sure.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, he's more of a kind of an old classic rock.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Guy.
Yeah, okay.
He's big into like the Eric Clapton, the Rolling Stones.
Oh yeah.
The Eagles and things like that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, he just loves that I'm kind of following along and just doing it. I mean, did you have any other brothers or that were into music, or were you an only child? Or? Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, my brother, older brother, he was also of the same band. He started out playing bass.
Oh wow.
First, but yeah, he plays music, and we played in a band together when we were teenagers, in high school and stuff like that. So
obviously, your dad, your kind of your obvious kind of main influence. But outside of Dad, like who were some of your guitar heroes you kind of could point to and say, yeah, that guy really kind of inspired me?
I'd say my first main one was definitely was Mark Tremonti.
Oh wow.
And he's still a big influence. He kind of got me once I started learning the guitar. I started listening to Creed.
Yeah.
And his guitar playing definitely. He was the guitar player. Like, yeah, definitely. I want to be in a band. I want to do this. And other than that, I mean, my favorites is John Petrucci.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson.
Joe Bonamassa.
Eric Johnson.
Like
yeah, Eric Johnson and Joe Bonamassa, very kind of blues oriented. So I could kind of see that the way you grew up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And is there an album I always like to ask people? And the reason I'm asking you this is I have another interview series we do called On the Record, where we interview people about maybe a record or something in their collection that you can kind of also point to and say, that's, if I had to kind of tell you guys, that's the record really kind of influenced me or had a major impact on what I do. Can you think of one or two albums that you could kind of point to?
Oh gosh. Well, let's see. As far as records in
or just like a body of I guess an album or some by a favorite band or guitar player.
Well, let's see. When I first, as I mentioned before, what really started getting me wanting to do be in a band and and play and really start to play guitar was definitely Creed. That really
Creed, okay, yeah. And see, Creed for its time was kind of different. It was when they were first coming out, they did not sound like anybody else. They really had their own thing going, and I think that's what a lot of people like you probably took notice of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they had, and to me, when I first started listening to them when I was younger, I had never really listened to anything like that before.
And I've heard people call Creed everything from metal to hard rock, alternative. I think it's a mixed bag. It's a little bit of everything.
It is, yeah. There's a little bit of everything mixed in there. There's hard rock, metal. There's even, I don't know, there even gets some influences of pop.
Yeah, I forget who came first, but I only other band that I can really kind of say they're like is maybe Korn.
Right, yeah. Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I can see that in some ways.
Yeah. Well, so you guys, like you said, you have a show coming up this week. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're playing down in Ogden, Utah, a place called Kamikazes on Friday night.
Well, Colin, I really enjoyed getting to know you, and let's stay in touch. And maybe when I have a chance to have a rest album, we can do a follow-up interview. But let's keep in touch because I really dig in the new single. I really urge people to go on YouTube and check out the video again. It's called Fighting Time. So anything else you want to say to the people listening to this before we wrap it up?
Just want to say thank you. Thank you everyone who's listening and everyone who's listened to our album and come to see us. We love and appreciate all the support. We're hoping to get out on the road here hopefully in the next few months.
Well, that we need bands like you guys to kind of keep the keep the music scene fresh. And what I mean by that is there's so many bands out there that, even bands that haven't been around that long, that are just kind of living on their catalog and music. But that's why I have all respect for bands like you that continue to release new music, because that's what it's about.
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, we want to keep things as fresh as possible. We're gonna keep putting out new stuff and getting out there as long as we can. And
finally, Colin, before I do wrap it up, I just going to say thanks again for the interview. And this interview will be going up in the next week or two. I'll be sure to let Barbara know. And once it posts, you're more than welcome to post on any of your sites. Now, Colin, I know the band has a Facebook page and that. Do you have your own personal page where people can follow you?
Yeah, I do have my own personal page. It's Colin Burgeson, Burgeson.
Okay, well, you take care, Colin, and let the rest of the guys in the band know that we're enjoying the new single and the new album, and we're going to do our best to spread the word so everybody else can see how what a great band you guys are.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Today.
Of course, anytime.